The first time I saw him, he was supposed to die. The second time, I was the one begging for my life. New York didn't care who you were, I chewed you up and spit you out all the same. I knew the rules. Stay sharp, never trust too long, and when you betray, make damn sure you disappear. But the night I slipped a drug into Adrian Kane's drink, the city's youngest and most ruthless gang leader, I made the mistake of underestimating him. Adrian wasn't just power, he was gravity. The kind of man people followed out of fear, loyalty, or sheer obsession. And somehow, after that heist went sideways, his gravity caught me. You think you can poison me and vanish? He had hissed that night, his hand gripping the back of my neck as the room spun around me. The drug was supposed to take him down. Instead, he had dragged me with him into the storm. I never believed in fate, but in the way his eyes burned into mine, it felt like something cruel and inescapable. I had grown up hustling on the cracked sidewalks of Queens, living off scams, small-time jobs, and whatever scraps I could claw from people too slow to notice. Adrian was a whole different world, born into violence, molded by it, and somehow thriving in it. When our worlds collided during a job that should have been simple, I thought I could use him, take what I needed, and walk away. I was wrong. The warehouse stank of rust and gasoline the night it all began. My crew had a single task: distract Adrian Kane, knock him out, and lift the shipment of weapons he was moving through Brooklyn. He was young, cocky, and everyone thought easy to bait. Except, he wasn't. I remember slipping him that drink, my hand steady even as my chest hammered. He didn't flinch, didn't notice, or maybe he did. When his fingers brushed mine over the glass, a spark jumped. It was nothing. It should have been nothing. But later, when the chaos broke loose, when my so-called crew scattered, I was the one Adrian pinned against a concrete wall, his pupils dilated from the drug, his breath hot against my ear. You think I don't know who you are? His voice was low, dangerous, yet strangely intimate. Ethan, right? You've just signed your death warrant. Only he didn't kill me. Days bled into nights, and instead of dumping me in the East River, Adrian kept me close. At first, I told myself it was torture, that he wanted me to squirm, to know the weight of my mistake. But the truth crept in during the quiet moments. Like when he'd stand at his office window, the glow of the city lighting the sharp edges of his jaw, and ask me questions no one ever cared to know. About my childhood. About the scar on my hand. About why I was willing to betray people who called themselves my crew. I hated him for it. For seeing me. For stripping me bare without ever touching me. And yet, every time his hand lingered a little too long on my arm, every time his gaze softened for a fraction of a second, I hated myself more for wanting it. One night, I tried to escape. I made it as far as the edge of the docks before his men caught me, dragged me back bleeding and furious. Adrian had dismissed them with a flick of his hand, stepping close enough that I could smell the faint trace of smoke and whiskey on his skin. You run from me again, he said, tilting my chin up until my eyes locked with his. And I won't chain you. I'll make you stay because you want to. It was a threat, but his voice held something else, something that terrified me more than violence. Desire. And God help me, I felt it too. By the time I realized I was in too deep, it was already too late. Adrian Kane was never supposed to mean anything to me. He was supposed to be a name, a target, a job. But somehow he became the one person I couldn't erase from my skin no matter how much I tried. It came to a breaking point on a night that felt like the city itself was holding its breath. Rain lashed against the windows of his penthouse, the skyline glowing in fractured colors beyond the glass. Adrian stood with his back to me, shoulders rigid, a storm bottled inside his body. You betrayed me once, he said finally, his voice quiet but sharp enough to slice me open. I've let you live because I couldn't decide whether I wanted to destroy you or keep you. I wanted to spit back something cruel, something that would sever the cord between us, but my throat closed. I was tired of running, tired of lying to myself. Then maybe, I whispered, stepping closer, you should admit it's both. He turned, his eyes catching mine. For once, there was no mask, no menace. Just raw hunger, raw hurt, and something terrifyingly close to need. He closed the distance between us in 2 strides, his hand gripping the back of my neck the same way he had the first night, but now it was different. His lips pressed against mine with a force that stole the breath from my lungs. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't sweet. It was desperate, messy, angry. It was every fight, every betrayal, every sleepless night poured into a single kiss. And when I kissed him back, when my fingers fisted in his shirt and pulled him closer, it felt like surrender and survival colliding at once. From then on, the world didn't matter. The streets, the crews, the debts and violence, all of it blurred. There was only the sharp rhythm of his heartbeat when I lay against his chest, only the way his laugh was softer in the early hours of the morning, only the way he looked at me like I was the first thing in his life not stained in blood. But the world wasn't going to let us have peace so easily. My old crew came hunting. They wanted Adrian dead, and me along with him for betraying them. The ambush hit us on a rainy Brooklyn night, the kind where neon and blood looked the same under the street lamps. Guns roared, people screamed, and for a moment, I thought fate had finally come to collect its debt. I remember Adrian throwing me to the ground, his body shielding mine as bullets tore the air. I remember grabbing a weapon from the asphalt, firing back until the night reeked of smoke and iron. We fought side by side, backs against the wall, until the last of them scattered. When silence fell, I realized my hands were shaking. Adrian's were too. He turned to me, his face streaked with rain, blood at the corner of his mouth, and he laughed. A broken, relieved sound. "You're insane," I muttered, my chest heaving. "So are you," he shot back, pulling me into him. And there, under the flickering streetlight, soaked and half-broken, he kissed me again. Not out of rage this time, not out of fear, but out of something deeper, something terrifyingly close to love. After that night, I stopped pretending we weren't bound. He could call it obsession, I could call it survival, but the truth was simple: we belonged to each other. Weeks later, when the dust finally settled, when the city moved on to new wars and new rumors, Adrian and I found ourselves standing on the roof of his building, watching the sunrise spill gold over Manhattan. His arm brushed mine, tentative, as though asking permission. I leaned into him. For the first time in years, my chest felt lighter. "You know this can't last," I murmured, "because old habits die hard." He tilted his head, those piercing blue eyes softer now. "Maybe not, but tonight it does. Tomorrow it does. Every day after, if you let it." Something inside me cracked open then, something I had held shut for too long. I let the warmth of his hand slip into mine, fingers lacing together like we'd done it 1,000 times before. For once, I didn't feel like prey. I didn't feel like a hustler scraping by. I felt chosen. The city roared below us, indifferent and endless, but up there it was just us. 2 broken men stitched together by betrayal and fire, daring to believe in something gentler. And when Adrian kissed me one last time, slow and steady beneath the morning light, I knew he wasn't letting me go. The truth was, I didn't want him to. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.